The once lofty prices of Rolex timepieces have undergone a marked downturn, plummeting by up to 30% since their peak in 2022. Certain watch models witnessed a substantial surge in worth, resulting in auction houses consistently achieving record-breaking prices almost daily. Now, what implications does this downward trend hold for the future of Rolex pricing? In this video presented by ventichic, we'll explore the factors contributing to the decline in Rolex prices and the ramifications for their future trajectory. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, we urge you to do so to stay updated on our forthcoming content. Pre-owned Rolex watch prices saw a decline on the secondary market last month, while entry-level models in brands like Cartier and Omega displayed stronger performance. According to the Bloomberg Subdial Watch Index, Rolex timepieces experienced a 2.2% decrease in September, while an index representing 100 entry-level watches, typically priced below $9,120, dropped by 0.8% during the same period. These findings suggest that collectors and enthusiasts are exercising caution when investing in highly anticipated models from leading Swiss brands, reflecting ongoing hesitancy even after the price surge seen in 2021 and early 2022. During the pandemic, prices for Rolex, Patek, and other prominent pre-owned models reached record highs on the secondary market. However, a significant pullback began in April 2022, attributed to rising interest rates and the collapse of numerous cryptocurrencies. This steep decline has been attributed to a combination of factors, including the following. Rolex Certified Pre-Owned. In response to evolving market dynamics, Rolex has introduced its Certified Pre-Owned program, where authorized dealers offer pre-owned Rolex watches that undergo authentication and servicing by the brand. This initiative streamlines the process of buying and selling pre-owned Rolex timepieces, contributing to increased competition in the secondary market and consequent price reductions. These certified pre-owned watches come with comprehensive paperwork, enhancing their overall value. While Rolex doesn't directly dictate prices for these watches, retailers compete amongst themselves, resulting in a downward price trend. Increased supply in new factories. Rolex has been ramping up its watch production in recent years to meet growing demand. While this increased supply addresses the rising demand for Rolex watches, it also exerts downward pressure on prices. The decrease in demand for luxury watches can be attributed to rising interest rates and reduced consumer spending on non-essential items like electronics, furniture, and apparel. Consumers are increasingly seeking value and rarity, with certain mid-tier luxury watches, including those from Omega, experience price increases that outpace high-end Swiss models. Despite the decline in demand, Rolex's watch supply has reached unprecedented levels. Although there were brief production halts during the pandemic, Rolex maintained its output within the standard range of 800,000 to 1 million watches per year. Notably, Rolex is actively building new factories and plans to increase shipments in the coming months to meet the rising demand, particularly in the Asian market. The bursting of the luxury watches bubble. During the pandemic, numerous investors turned to luxury watches as a safe haven for their investments, resulting in an artificial surge in demand and prices, peaking in early 2022. However, as economic growth slowed and inflation worries intensified, investors began offloading their watches, leading to a sharp decline in prices. The zenith of Rolex prices and subsequent decrease in demand occurred in February 2022, when the index reached $60,000. However, by year-end, prices plummeted to $36,000, and currently, they linger around $34,000. This significant downturn can be attributed to a bubble that formed in the watch market. Speculative investors acquired Rolex watches with the expectation of substantial profits, fueling an artificial surge in demand and prices. As the bubble burst, demand for Rolex professional models waned over the preceding 6 months. During this period, lower-priced entry-level timepieces have outperformed both the overall market and the Rolex and Patek Philippe indices. The Bloomberg Subdial Watch Index, comprising the 50 most traded watches by value from Rolex, Patek Philippe, and Audemars Piguet, experienced a 5% drop in 6 months, whereas the entry-level 100 index fell by just 0.7% over the same period. A notable exception to the trend of cheaper watches outperforming is Rolex's sister brand, Tudor, whose entry-level priced watches saw a 4.8% drop in 6 months. Nevertheless, most watches in the Bloomberg Subdial Watch Index from Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, and Rolex still command prices on the secondary market above their listed retail price. Since late 2022, Wall Street has been buzzing with forecasts of Federal Reserve interest rate hikes, disrupting the US economy and stock market. Despite the broader economy holding up surprisingly well, the monetary tightening has sparked a downturn in a different arena: the secondary market for luxury watches. The overall market index for watches, which monitors prices of 60 timepieces from leading brands like Rolex, Patek Philippe, and Audemars Piguet, has plummeted by 32% since March 2022. Market rebound. This trend benefits buyers who can take advantage of reduced prices, contributing to a market recovery and normalization. The current downward trajectory in Rolex prices is seen as the market readjusting after the bubble burst, indicating a return to typical levels rather than a sharp decline. Other luxury watch brands like Omega and Vacheron Constantin are also experiencing price decreases, but Cartier remains steadfast and doesn't follow the same pattern. Rolex's future strategy. Rolex's strategy going forward involves bolstering both supply and demand. This entails constructing new factories and significantly increasing production to meet the growing demand for its watches. Concurrently, the brand is focusing on expanding its presence in the Asian market, recognizing the substantial potential for luxury watches in this region. This strategic shift aligns with the rising demand for Rolex watches and the growth opportunities in the Asian market. Price competition. With more dealers entering the Rolex certified pre-owned market, competition has intensified, leading to price declines. Some retailers are settling their certified pre-owned prices 50% higher than the standard pre-owned market value for the same model. However, this price competition is driving down overall pre-owned prices, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Asian market. The growing demand for luxury watches, including Rolex, is largely fueled by the increasing affluence and rising disposable income in Asian countries such as China and India. With more individuals looking to invest in luxury timepieces, Rolex's strategic initiatives to meet this demand through increased supply are expected to strengthen its market position. Changing consumer preferences. Younger generations of consumers show less interest in luxury watches compared to previous generations, partly due to the popularity of smartwatches and other wearable technology. Consequently, the demand for Rolex watches isn't as robust as it once was. Whether it's an opportune time to purchase a Rolex depends on your intentions. If you're acquiring a Rolex for personal enjoyment, there is never a disadvantageous time to do so. Rolex watches maintain their value over time, and market fluctuations shouldn't deter you. However, if your primary aim is quick financial gains, buying a Rolex solely for investment purposes isn't recommended due to the unpredictable market nature. The decline in Rolex prices is expected to persist in the short term. Nonetheless, the long-term prospects for Rolex remain positive. Rolex is a highly esteemed brand, renowned for producing top-quality watches. As the economy rebounds and consumer confidence improves, the demand for Rolex watches is likely to bounce back. If you found the insights provided in the video valuable, consider leaving a comment expressing your thoughts and giving it a thumbs up to show your support. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insightful content in the future. Thank you for tuning into ventichic, and we look forward to welcoming you to our upcoming videos.